I just got back from a really fun Lorcana tournament this weekend, and a lot of things happened, including Christmas in July, and I felt like talking about it. So let's do a little channel update. So things have been a little light on the content front from us recently. Ever since the World Championship, we have been extremely busy. Now, a lot of you know that we have full-time jobs and are also parents to a 2-year-old who takes a lot of our time. So we've been trying to squeeze content in here and there, and it's been a stretch. But hopefully we're gonna get things going now. Things have calmed down a little bit, and we've got some fun videos planned, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, I have been doing a little bit of traveling and trying to squeeze in some more commentator gigs after the World Championship to keep the skills sharp, and because I love getting out there and meeting the community. You know, a lot of people were really disappointed, us included, about the DLC announcement, the fact that there were so few of them. And one of the reasons is because these aren't just Lorcana tournaments for us anymore. A lot of us have made friends and friendships through Lorcana. There's a lot of people that we interact with online on a day-to-day basis, and Lorcana events have turned into kind of meeting places and gathering places, and they have these really fun convention type feels. One of my favorite things is going off to conventions and meeting other content creators, trading stickers, getting cards signed, all of that stuff. I have a binder full of stickers from Lorcana channels, some of which don't exist anymore. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. And so that's why this weekend at Sharp Gaming in Arkansas was so fun, because it had kind of a convention-y feel to it. One of the things that I appreciate about the event is they had a bunch of things going on that weren't just the main event. Of course, they had their big 5K tournament on Saturday, followed by 3K on Sunday, and then a set champ the next day. But they also had side events going on. They had raffles. There were a bunch of commentators and Lorcana content creators that they sponsored to fly out there. So it had the feel of like a convention light, even though there were only about 100 attendees. Absolutely loved the event and appreciate the folks at Sharp Gaming for putting it on, including the commentators that I got to commentate with, JDZ, who ran the stream, and Katie. It was a ton of fun. I think the videos are available. You should go back and watch it. It was an interesting time, though, because we're in this weird phase of Lorcana where it's kind of the last gasp of several sets. Sets 1 through 4, which we've been playing with since the beginning of the game, are about to rotate out as soon as Fable's released in a few weeks. And so the cards that we've gotten used to playing with and the meta that we've gotten used to, the decks that we're used to, could be all different. So yeah, so this is kind of like us saying farewell to these decks, getting in our last little bit of fun with them before some of the cards are going to be gone from the constructed format, or the core constructed format, for quite some time. And so it made it extra fun for me when players brought in some off-meta kind of wild decks into this tournament and did really well with them. Of course, the story of the tournament were the Christmas decks. Some of the Infinity team, led by Worlds competitor Mo Shamblin, showed up dressed in Santa Christmas outfit gear with Santa hats on, tipping their hand that they were about to do something fun. And sure enough, they showed up with these ruby emerald decks, or red-green decks, Christmas colors, and really tore through the competition, so much so that Cody ended up winning with this red-green deck. And what struck me about it is it was a lot of cards that we're used to seeing in other competitive decks, with just a couple different cards splashed in, including the Dormouse and Undermine, some red-green mixed cards, some Ruby Emerald mixed cards, Duel Link cards. And it was a lot of fun to watch him just really destroy people with this color combination, which has probably been good for, I mean, at least this entire meta, and show up for the first time here, like last gasp with some of these cards. Yeah. And one of the things that reminded me of, or reminded me again, is that I don't think in any competitive meta, except maybe when Bucky was around, honestly. Okay, and maybe set 2. But other than those two, I don't think we've ever had a meta that's truly completely solved, because I'm struck by every single Lorcana season, every single set, how far into the season, like right near the end, it feels like somebody comes up with some sort of spice or fun deck that's competitively viable, which has been around for a while, but just nobody was playing with, and it comes along, and then all of a sudden, you know, a new set comes out and things change again. So it's one of the things that I appreciate about the game right now, and I appreciate about Infinity for bringing this deck out to play. Speaking of cards that nobody really gets to play, I had somebody do something a little mean, and I think they're wrong. Let me get this card here. I'll show this in video. I got a gift recently in the mail from one of my favorite Lorcana players, Zach Bivens. You may know him, world's competitor. And you also may know that Gantu is one of my favorite cards in Lorcana. I don't want to explain why. I've done it a bajillion times. Needless to say, justice for Gantu. And it's the good Gantu. So Zach sends me this card, and you can't see it right there, but it says retirement fund on it, stonks, with the line going in the wrong direction. Now, I at first chose to think that Zach made a mistake and accidentally had this upside down and had the line going in the wrong direction. But upon reflection, I think he actually meant to point it downwards, which I think is a travesty, because Gantu is going to be good long term. Anyway, it led me to issue kind of haphazardly on our live stream last night the Gantu challenge for set championships this weekend. I want to see Gantu played in set championships. So here's my call to you all. Spread the word. The Gantu challenge is out there. If you're playing in a set championship, I want to see you make the top cut with the Gantu in your deck. Bare minimum. He's inkable. You don't even have to play him. Bare minimum, put him in there and make the top cut. If you're really feeling like you want to go to the hard level of the challenge, let's see him in play against your opponent on the board doing his thing. And if you get him in play, we want to see it. So send us your Gantu pictures. We want Gantu to have one last shot at glory before he is rotated out when Fabled releases, unless they choose to reprint him. And if they do, you know what? If they do, that means Ravensburger is in on it, and yeah, I want to see Gantu back. So in other news, while the Gantu challenge is going on next weekend and people playing in their set champs, Aaron and I are heading out to GenCon this coming weekend. We are very excited for GenCon. There's going to be a lot of fun reveals. We think for Lorcana, there's an anniversary panel and some other stuff going on out there. The Ravensburger team is going to be out there in full force, and Ravensburger and Lorcana have a history with GenCon. Lorcana things happen at GenCon. We all remember year one for those that were there. We call it Line Kana now, but the demand for Lorcana was so high that it caused a crush at one point, a crush light. But it was a big thing. And from that day forward, I think GenCon and Lorcana will always be linked, and GenCon has a place in Lorcana's history. So we're going into year 3 now, year 3 of GenCon. I'm really excited to see, or year 2 rather, really the launch and then year 1, and now it's so 3rd GenCon, 2nd year, but really excited to see what Lorcana and Ravensburger have in store for us at this GenCon. So stay tuned. We're going to be there bringing you news with some other awesome creators, and just keep your eyes peeled on socials and stuff, because I can't wait to see what's coming out of there. And the release of Fabled is shortly after that, so it's going to be fantastic. So let's talk a little bit more about Fabled. It is going to be a fascinating set. For the first time in Lorcana, we have a mostly reprint set. I think there's only 33 new cards, at least very, very few. And so we're going to see a lot of cards that we're used to seeing from other sets here, reprinted to keep them legal and core constructed, as we all know. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I know that there's a lot of mixed feelings. A lot of people who've been playing the game for a while are not super excited about busting open packs and seeing cards that they already have. I actually think, though, that this set is going to be it's going to be very good for the game for a variety of reasons. Even though those of us with established collections, and I could show you over there, we have a lot of cards sitting over there, are not going to be excited about getting cards that they have seen before. There's a few things that I think make this set really important. The first is it will make it accessible to new players. We're year 2 in the game, and the ability for players now to pick up, this set and get a lot of the core constructed staples and cards that they missed in the first year of Lorcana, I think it's going to be very important. I also think what's going to be fascinating is seeing how collectors respond, and even some players, to new treatments on old cards. Of course, some of these won't be playable. For example, I hate to say it, Pooh Honey Wizard is getting an enchanted, and as a collector, I am super excited. I can't wait to tell you. It's a card that I'm going to hunt down. I'm going to find. I'm going to find it in a PSA 10, to be quite honest, because the card is bonkers cool. But from a playability perspective, it's not one that players are super excited about, because at the moment, you don't see a lot of Winnie the Pooh in core constructed decks. But what you are going to see is new treatments on playable cards, whether they are in the Epic treatment Or one of the things I think people are forgetting is for cards that are being reprinted, everything in sets 1 through 6 we had in a cold foil treatment, and Ravensburgers moved away from that in previous sets. So even if a card is not getting an enchanted treatment, if it's being reprinted, you're going to get it in a different foil type. And so there is, and that's a small thing, but there is something new for certain collectors who want to get, different versions of their favorite cards. And perhaps if you're foiling out your deck, you choose to go with a cold foil over the new foil, or perhaps you want the new foils to foil out your deck. So there is something new for collectors there as well. But at the end of the day, I do think that for established players and collectors, the Epic Chase, don't underestimate it. I think those cards are bonkers cool. They're going to be really fun to collect. They actually give us, they're not just zoomed in on the card art from the previous card. They actually expand the artwork and give us more of it than we're used to seeing on previous editions of the card. And I think that the chase for those cards and the desirability of those cards is going to be rather large. And let's not forget the Iconics. Those cards are going to be expensive on the secondary market, and I think the chase for those is going to be real. So I don't know. I think Fabled, at the end of the day, even though people have some trepidation about there being a pretty core reprint set, I think it's going to do very well, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to open, and I'm actually kind of excited for it. I'm actually very excited for it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you're feeling about Fabled and set rotation, and I really want to know what you think. What cards are you excited to chase? What cards are you not excited for? The last thing I want to talk about is the DLCs, because I don't know, they're always looming out there, and there is this sense of, I think, sadness about the number of DLCs, etc. Now, post GenCon and post Fabled release, we actually have a lot of stuff coming up over the next few months. We've been invited to a lot of different tournaments. There's a lot of third-party events going on. We'll be heading to CCS in September. The weekend after GenCon, I think, we're going up to Waco, Texas for the Nexus Gaming tournament there. There's also PPG Denver coming up in mid-September, and it just feels like at the moment there are so many third parties that are stepping up to provide a competitive outlet for players who are looking to compete, who maybe didn't get into DLC Milwaukee, or maybe that alone is not scratching the itch. So we're going to be out. We're going to be traveling quite a bit, I think, as long as we can squeeze it in our schedule. It is a lot. But I wanted to mention it because if you are a player who just has that competitive drive and you want to throw down against some of the best Lorcana players out there, or even just Lorcana players out there, take a look at some of these events. We're going to try to highlight them in the channel as much as we can, but take a look out there because there are various third parties which are trying to keep the competitive scene thriving, and you can find them and you can play, and it's going to be great. And then let us know if we should keep them on our radar. Let us know how you do. So yeah, so there's a lot coming up. So with that, thank you all for being here. Keep us posted on your Lorcana exploits. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know in the comment below what you think about Gen Con, Set Championships, the Gantu Challenge. We want to hear from you. We'll see you next time.